Good evening, Florida lacrosse fans. Lee Roggenberg, Florida Lacrosse News. Let's see, it's about a little after 7 tonight, which means in about 17 hours, we're going to have the kickoff of the end of the season, the Final Four, Kissimmee, Boston Tyndall Park. God, I wish I could be at this one. So many stories. Just for those who don't know, I'm obligated to fly up to Pennsylvania tomorrow to attend my niece's wedding, which had been postponed from last year. So unfortunately, I'm going to be missing this one in person. I will certainly be there in spirit, and will certainly be catching as much as I can on the NFHS network, following the Twitter threads of the schools and other people who are going to be there. Those who are planning on going, remember, you have to buy your tickets in advance. There's not going to be any ticket sales at the site itself. You're going to have an awful lot of things to deal with when you get there. A little bit of information. First game at noon. There is only a very small amount of temporary stands on the two auxiliary fields that are going to be used. So you're going to have to exercise an awful lot of patience tomorrow. They've said that you can bring your chairs. I don't really understand how, if you're not in the front row, that's going to be any benefit to you. Let's hope that they get some netting right and we have a safe Final Four. We're all kind of keeping our fingers crossed on that. According to the information I was given, there is no cap on tickets. There is going to be concessions at the park, although they're going to allow you to bring your own beverage, which I would assume to mean either a juice or a water or a soft drink in with you. Parking, I'm not sure how they're going to handle. They have some decent amount of regular parking, but I assume that with the amount of people I expect to show up, they're going to have to do something along the lines of allowing parking on some of the other fields. I didn't see which fields. I suspect it's the two back ones closest to the stadium. I could be wrong on that, but when you get there, it won't be too hard to figure out where the games are. It was a great facility for a club event. There's a very nice stadium. Stadium is not going to be used on Friday. It's only going to be on Saturday for the 4 final games. Never really asked why. I suspect it's just in case they don't want to try to play 8 games in 2 days and tear up the field too much. Obviously, if weather plays a role, we're going to have a bit of an issue because this is a pretty tight schedule. The schedules on the auxiliary fields for the boys. First game is going to be Bowles and St. Edwards at noon, followed by Canterbury and St. Andrews at 2 o'clock, Lake Mary and Winter Park scheduled at 4, and Plant and Jupiter scheduled at 6. Now, 2 hours and a time slot is tight. It's been my experience in the past when they've done this that warm-ups occur off, maybe 15 to 20 minutes on the field beforehand. Kids are kind of rushed off the field after the game. And God forbid we have a repeat of the first year at IMG with heavy rain and, those who've heard me say in the past, a tornado that actually touched down about 5 miles away from the field. On the girls' side, we're going to lead off at noon with Community School and American Heritage Del Rey. At 2 o'clock, we have Lake Highland Prep and Ponte Vedra, Steinbrenner and St. Thomas at 4, and Bartram Trail and Vero at 6 o'clock. On Saturday, they are going to space it out better. Saturday, the 1A championships are going to start at 11 a.m. in the stadium. I believe the girls' 1A championship goes at 11, Then we come back at 1:30 for the next game, and then I believe it's 5 o'clock. The 2A starts. Actually, I guess it's 3 hours. It's 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m. for the first final 1A on the boys, and 8 p.m. for the 2A final, all in the stadium. There are plenty of restrooms on the site. We should not have an issue with that. Sure, there'll be temporary in there too. Those of you who can't make it, the NFHS website, National Federation of High Schools, nfhsnetwork.com. You can pay a $10 fee, covers a month, which means you'll get all the games for the $10 fee. I've been a subscriber, just as part of this job or part of this hobby for a while now. And so if you can't make it for whatever reason, you can follow it. Now, before we go into the predictions, I took a look. There's 3 different rankings, power rankings that I took a look at to see on a comparative basis how they viewed the teams. And they're the Florida High School Athletic Association rankings on their website, Max Preps, and laxnumbers.com. Now, I never really got an answer out of Florida about what their calculation is, or if there's just maybe a time-lapse difference between them and Max Preps. But there are a couple little variations. On the 1A girls side, Lake Island Prep is number 1 in both Florida FHSAA and lax numbers, but number 2 in Max Preps. American Heritage Delray is the reverse of that. 2 in FHSAA, 2 in lax numbers, 1 in Max Preps. Ponte Vedra is number 4 in the FHSAA and number 3 in Max Preps and in lax numbers. Community School has the biggest difference. Community School is number 8 on the Florida High School website, and they're number 5 in both Max Preps and lax numbers. On the girls 2A side, you have St. Thomas at number 1 in Florida High School and Max Preps, and number 2 in lax numbers. Vero Beach is the reverse, 2, 2, and 1. Bartram is number 3 in all 3 of them. And Steinbrenner, interestingly enough, is number 4 in Max Preps and lax numbers, but number 8 in the FHSAA website. On the boys' side, 1A, St. Andrews is number 1 across the board. St. Edward's, FHSAA number 7, Max Preps number 4, lax numbers number 7. Canterbury is number 10 in FHSAA, number 5 in Max Preps, number 12 in lax numbers. Whereas in the FHSAA, Bowles is number 17, Max Preps number 8, and lax numbers number 10. So there's some variety of opinion there. And that's a little strange about how much of a difference. On the 2A side, you have Lake Mary at number 2 in the FHSAA, which actually I believe has Ponte Vedra at number 1. Lake Mary number 1 at Max Preps. Jupiter number 1 in lax numbers. Jupiter number 3 in FHSAA. Number 2 in Max Preps. Plant number 2 in lax numbers. Plant is number 6 in Florida in FHSAA. Winter Park is number 4 in Max Preps. Lake Mary number 5 in lax numbers. Winter Park number 7, FHSAA. Max Preps Plant number 5. Lax numbers, Jupiter is, Winter Park is number 6. So there's quite a variety, difference of opinion there. Okay. This, I have to admit, there's some difficulty, particularly in 2A. In 1A, I think that you have to make St. Andrews the heavy favorite to win the state title. They have played the hardest schedule. They've run the table. I've seen them in action 3 times. I've seen Canterbury. I've seen St. Ed's. Uh, I, I've only seen Bowls on tape. I watched the Bowls McClay game. Got some opinions from those up north too. They're kind of the wild card. From what I've been told, they're hot and cold. When they're playing well, they're really good, tough offense. Goalies can be hot and cold too. They're playing St. Ed's. The story is obvious. St. Andrews is playing Canterbury. I have my connection there too. Canterbury head coach Trent Carter, fellow Hobart grad. They play a tough defense. They found enough goals. Very similar style to St. Andrews. But St. Andrews just has the better talent this year. They have a goaltender, I think, is a better goaltender. I think they have a more wide-ranging number of options on offense. And the 3 long poles really are just unmatched in the 1A level. So what I'm going to do is, with Bowls and St. Ed's, I think St. Ed's will continue their run here and get to the finals against St. Andrews. I think St. Ed's wins by a couple of goals against Bowls. I think the St. Andrews game will play out just like the game they played against Berlin. They'll be kept close into the second half, and they will pull away because Canterbury will have a hard time finding a way to get goals. So we're going to go St. Andrews over Canterbury, St. Ed's over Bowls, and in the championship game, I think that St. Ed's will kind of be spent by then, and we will see a St. Andrews victory by 5 or 6 goals. Let's go to girls 1A. We have American Heritage Delray playing Community School. We have Lake Island Prep playing Ponte Vedra. The Lake Island Prep Ponte Vedra game is the only rematch of the entire Final Four. None of the other 8 games had played going into the season. And that was a Lake Island 16-10 win at Ponte Vedra. Now, I saw Ponte Vedra. I saw Lake Island. I saw American Heritage Delray. I've not seen Community School. I think that American Heritage Delray will win the game. I don't really know if it's going to be a big score, but I just think that the experience and the difficulty of schedule helps there, and they go on. Let's make that by about 4 goals. Lake Island Ponte Vedra is really intriguing. Ponte Vedra's got put up 10 goals on the first game. So the question becomes, can they find a way to cut down the goals against? And if they can, this could be a close game down the line. But if Lake Island gets out to an early lead, they have been deadly in the past with running off clock. So I'm still going to say that Lake Island is going to win the game. And we're going to get our rematch from 2019 when Lake Island Prep and Heritage Delray met in the semifinals that year. And I see they played a 1-goal game in the regular season at Lake Island Prep. This game's a toss-up in all likelihood. I just can't see someone winning this game easily. So let's see. Let's just call the toss-up and enjoy it in the championships. I'm not going to have a gun put to my head on this one and choose because there's really no point to it. This is when you just sit back, you watch, and you enjoy. On the girls' 2A side, we have Vero Beach, which I've seen, playing Bartram Trail, which I've also seen. St. Thomas Aquinas, which I've seen. Steinbrenner, which I tried to watch some film on, but I just couldn't view it. Just didn't show very well. Uh, St. Thomas and Steinbrenner is also very intriguing. St. Thomas is a very solid team, without question. Steinbrenner is a story of the sophomore class. There's 7 top scorers in the building. They're all sophomores. They did get held down 5-4 in their one loss during the season. St. Thomas's only loss was a game I saw against Lake Highland, and they gave Lake Highland all they could handle. I think the only way that Steinbrenner wins this game is if they get out early and basically are able to play their game offensively. But I don't think that St. Thomas is going to allow them to do that. I think St. Thomas will win this game maybe by about 3 goals. I'm not sure if it's going to be high scoring or low scoring. St. Thomas can play a high scoring game too. But I think that St. Thomas moves on to the finals. Vero Beach and Bartram Trail, another interesting matchup. Also did not play. I do know that Vero played Ponte Vedra at home early in the year, 1-goal win. I saw Bartram against Ponte Vedra. That was an overtime game. This is going to be, again, one of those games. I think that comes right down to the wire. Very difficult to predict the winner. I think I'm going to go with Bartram Trail to pull a minor upset in this one. And that would give us Bartram Trail and St. Thomas in the finals. Both have, Bartram has a state title, I believe 5 years ago now. St. Thomas made the championship game, I believe 4 years ago. This should also be a heck of a game. Again, I think you just sit back and you watch and you see what happens. I'm not going to kid everyone here. I'm not someone who has watched as much film or has watched as many of the girls' games. It's just not enough time in the day, the week, whatever, to do so. So I think you're just going to have a great championship game. I think that the girls' 2A is really the most intriguing of the 4 classes, to be honest, based on what I've seen and read. Then we get to the boys' 2A. We have Lake Mary and Winter Park. They didn't play. They are not that far apart, if my mind is straight on this. I'm guessing maybe about 20 miles, maybe. They have played in the past. This is a rivalry that in the past was certainly there. Winter Park, for those who haven't really followed the sport all the way back, you go back 10, 15, maybe 15 years and go a little forward from there. Winter Park was one of the state powers. And it's really nice to see them coming back into this. The people I've talked to about them have told me they're real. Now, against that, I have to say that the schedule was not tough. That's partly not their fault. They are kind of stuck with that version of the Orlando Cup, whatever they call it up there, whether it's Orange County Cup or whatever. And they're sort of forced to play schools that really should be dedicated towards stronger out-of-area competition. And hopefully they can get back to doing that next year. But I'm certainly looking forward to see how they handle this. I saw the Lake Mary Creekside game. They are certainly very tough. Both teams are very well coached. I think I'm going to go with the tougher schedule in this one. I think that Lake Mary will pull it out in the end, 1 or 2 goals, go on to the championship game. And then we have what's, to me, is the matchup of the 8. And that's Jupiter and Plant. I watched the Plant game at Ponte Vedra. Watched Jupiter a couple of times. There are Tons of top players on these teams. Plant goalie Noose going to Cornell. The two great long poles. Some of the offense. Jupiter. I'm very familiar with so many of their players. Jupiter's offense is so varied and so good. Plant's got a really good defense, nice offensive talent. I think that the key matchup in this game is going to be in goal. Aiden Vincent has had a very nice season. Can he match Noost in goal? And at the faceoff circle, Michael Smith came on very strong this year. I'm not 100% sure on the Plant side, but I think I'm going to go with the winner of the faceoffs and the winner of the ground, not even the ground balls. I think the ground balls are going to equal out pretty good. Both of these teams are pretty good at that. Faceoffs, save percentage. I think that's going to really tell the key story here. I do think Jupiter is slightly the favorites in this, just like I thought they were on the St. Thomas game. 1-2 goals, and then we would get a Jupiter Lake Mary final. I do believe they played a couple of 3 years ago, and then we're going to come down to that, and I think this is Jupiter's year. I just think that they're the best team in the state. It's not a big difference by any means, obviously. But I'm going to go Jupiter over Lake Mary to win the championship. So it'll give us St. Andrews. It'll give us Jupiter on the boys' side. And we'll have the toss-up on the girls' 1A. And I picked, actually, I guess I picked a close game. To be honest, I just forgot what I said between Bartram Trail and St. Thomas. The beauty of it is I think we will have 3 fabulously close finals and one that I think will be comfortably won by St. Andrews. St. Andrews has not tasted championship since 2012. And when you think about that, you think about what they had done for so many years. And the same thing with Vero Beach on the girls' side. We've had multiple winners. Jupiter's won a title. Ponte Vedra's won a title. St. Thomas has won. Lake Highland, their titles. On the girls' side, Bartram. And we had Lake Highland. Then we had Heritage Del Rey. And we've traded these championships around, which is fabulous. So I'm going to miss you all out there. I wish I could be there. Be watching as much as I can. Certainly following as much as I can. If you go out there tomorrow, believe me, you got to bring your patience. God knows how many people are going to be there. God knows how this is going to work out with the 2 auxiliary fields and basically no stands. So enjoy the heck out of the weekend. This is Lee Roggenberg saying so long from the Sunshine State.